right, here we go. 1090. Jake, welcome back to Vlad TV.
What's up, bro?
Congratulations. You had a big trip. Went out to Europe with your girl. Lived it up, I saw.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. Of course. Well, there's a lot to talk about, but we have to start with this whole Young Thug situation. And listen, Young Thug was talking on that phone like it wasn't being recorded in jail.
Yeah.
Like he had a private cell phone or something and no one else knew what he was talking about. Like, are you surprised that all of these leaks are coming out now?
I'm surprised because I've never heard it being done. Because it's like, who would really care about what somebody's talking about on a jail phone? Like, I know the police record it and they're going to listen if you say any crazy shit. I didn't know you could request it, though. You know what I mean? Because it's like, who's really going to, like, want to listen to what somebody's talking about with their girl, whatever. But they hit a gold mine with this shit.
Well, before these phone calls got released, there was an interrogation video where Young Thug was talking about the whole Peewee Roscoe, Lil Wayne tour bus shooting situation.
Right.
Now, people are looking at this going, well, it seems like Young Thug is kind of snitching on Peewee.
Right.
What's your take on this?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't want to say too much because I haven't even made a video on this situation yet. But he said too much. There's a lot of things he shouldn't have been talking about. There's no reason for him to have sat there for 2 hours. And I'll say this, if I did it, they'd flat out say I'm a rat. But you know there's going to be selective politicking regardless. I know that something is standing out to me. The person that actually got the audio from the interrogation reached out to me when it originally happened. Nobody was saying anything that they're saying now back then. This isn't the first time that this has surfaced. It's just now everyone's capitalizing off of the situation. And I'm not sure why it's being viewed differently than how it was when it first came out.
Well, when did it first come out?
I think it was like a year ago, if not 2 years ago.
Huh.
Like, this isn't a new video. It's been on YouTube for a minute. Just nobody spun that narrative. And the thing is, bits and pieces of this interview are being clipped. When things aren't played in their entirety, you can make something look however you want it to, right? And when people don't understand the context of a situation, you can portray it to be whatever you want. So I would just say, I'm going to break this down fully. But one thing to pay attention to, aside from him making a promise and, oh yeah, take my number down, that's crazy. But as far as the shooting goes, he said he heard it was Peewee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're saying it was Peewee. But prior to him saying that, they're talking about the news and TMZ talking about Peewee. But if you clip that out and you just play what he's saying, it sounds like, oh yeah, I heard it on the streets, it was Peewee. When in all actuality, they're talking about, the news is saying he did it. I don't know if he did it. I'm not trying to get involved with y'all case, but I don't know that. So, for whatever reason, everybody's deciding to jump on him. He definitely said shit he shouldn't have. And the way he's trying to fix it, in my opinion, isn't working in his favor. He really should just stop talking about it. Because the interview he did when dude's really not pressing him on nothing, I've never even heard of that host, to be honest with you. I don't know who the fuck that was. So that just makes it seem like you got somebody that's going to be on your side to speak on it. Really, he should have sat down with you, me, somebody, academic, someone that's more, actually covering the situation, instead of just making it seem like you sat down with someone that's going to favor your side of the story. But,
Well, I know who he sat down with. That's a Big Bank. He has a podcast with my man DJ Scream called Big Facts. I'm very familiar with that podcast. Big Bank has been, a figure in Atlanta, so I don't want to just make it seem like this is just a nobody that came out of nowhere. He's been doing his thing in Atlanta. He's been a street guy for a while, and he's got a podcast that's well known, not the hugest podcast in the world, which is probably why it's not on your radar, but generally a well-known podcast. In fact, when I was in Atlanta a few weeks ago, I was actually supposed to do their podcast, but the timing wasn't right. And I think the Young Thug chose a guy that was sort of from the same environment as him and kind of grew up around the same time as him. He's a little bit older, but kind of understands where he's coming from. And he didn't even do it with the whole podcast crew. He did it specifically with Big Bank. So I'm not quite sure exactly what he meant to do, but I think the biggest problem here is that if Young Thug came out and said, listen, I was facing life in prison. I had to cooperate on certain things. I didn't get anyone arrested, but this is what I had to do. And if you choose to cooperate in your own way, if you're Gunna or whoever else, that's fine. I understand it. But instead he came out with like, yo, little baby, let's bash all these rats. You guys are a bunch of snitches. You're a snitch. Gunna's a snitch. Yeah, Gotti's a snitch. I'm the only non-snitch guy. I'm solid. I've never ratted. I've never snitched. I'm the poster boy of this. Everyone else are rats. And then you come out with a video like this.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem.
Well, he shot himself in the foot because the second you start standing on business like that, everyone's going to look into everything. And apparently they're even going to look into your jail calls. So it's like he kind of brought that on himself. The fact that damn near everybody in YSL told is crazy. But Thug isn't really keeping that energy with everybody, though, because his own brother, Funk, copped that same plea. So he did it to himself. And it is what it is at this point.
I mean, didn't he somehow cop a similar plea as well?
Who, Thug?
Yeah.
I don't know if Thug's plea had to do the whole yes, ma'am, and YSL's a gang and all that extra shit.
Hold on. Let me see what he pled guilty to. Young Thug. He entered a blind plea, a non-negotiated plea to 6 other charges and a no contest plea to the RICO charge and 1 gang charge. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit fuzzy. I mean, Brian Steele is obviously an expert in what he does, and he probably put it together a certain type of way. But
I mean, of course he's gonna put it together a certain type of way. Because at one point during the trial, they said that he sat down with an officer in the back of a police car and was talking about a murder, and Brian Steele was able to make it, so that never came up in court. You know what I mean? So there's been a lot of iffy shit that's come out. The thing about this is, though, there's no paperwork. It's literally him speaking. That's even worse. You know what I mean? Because it's like, homie, you didn't write it down. They didn't write it down. You can't say they lying. It came out of your mouth. And the only reason you got all this attention on you is because everything you just said about everybody else.
yeah, I mean, he accused Gunna, Duke, and Ralo of being real rats. Ralo started to respond like crazy. I mean, what exactly is Young Thug accusing Ralo of, and what exactly did Ralo do? I've always been a little confused about this part of the story.
I'm confused on this, too, because apparently Thug said in the interview he did with Banks, is his name? The host in Atlanta, Banks? I'm not trying to disrespect, I just don't...
Big Bank.
Right,
Big
so
Bank.
he said in that interview that Ralo was going to testify against him. Now, this doesn't make sense for a couple of different reasons. Ralo had a Fed case. Thug had a state case. And then they had the same lawyer, apparently. So that in itself would be a conflict of interest, no? How are you going to represent the person who's going to snitch against the other person you're representing? A lot of the shit didn't make sense, right? But Thug, at the same time, seems to be just putting out whatever he can to try to alleviate his situation. I personally think he has a PR team that's trying to get him to, you know, just like he said he was flirting with the cop. He wasn't trying to give his number because he ended up giving the number to the male cop who was in the room at the same time. How are you flirting with the female cop and there's a male present? That doesn't really make sense. He's not going to go for that. She said, I don't have your number. He said, you can give it to me. Then the audio goes out because he gives his number. So it's like, it's a tricky situation. As far as Ralo sat down and told him a bunch of bullshit that didn't go through. That was the Ralo case. End of story. He didn't cooperate on no fucking body. He had a dude hating on him in Atlanta that got exposed for having fake jewelry and everything else. And that was about it.